Hi everybody, welcome to this special Pride edition of yoga. Today's theme is pride, being proud of yourself, being proud of your body and your spirit, your orientation, your gender, and hopefully we can take today to celebrate that and cultivate some of that self-acceptance. So today's class is flow and let go, meaning we start fast and then we soothe it down and slow it down. Soothe it down makes sense, don't worry about it. All you'll need is a mat, some water, especially if you're outside on a hot day like I am today. I have a blanket as an option. You can have some blocks as an option, or really anything to bring the earth closer to you, like books or soup cans, whatever you've got available. Take a minute to get your equipment together. It is helpful if you have the long edge of your mat oriented to the screen, but not mandatory. So to begin, let's come to a standing position, more or less in the middle of our mat, with our feet about shoulder width apart. Shift your weight side to side, and feel free to give in to any urge to widen your stance or turn your toes out and in. From here, if you're feeling pretty stable, you're welcome to lower your eyelids or close your eyes entirely as you shift the focus to the bottom of your right foot. Start to shift the weight around the foot, maybe rocking back and forth or side to side, imagining that you're using the weight of your body to massage the bottom of your foot. Notice how this activates different muscles throughout your leg and core. Maybe you can even feel some subtle activation throughout your shoulders and neck. Let's turn our attention now to the bottom of our left foot, once again shifting the weight side to side and exploring the sensations. You can allow your arms to rest to your sides like I am. Bring them, hands together at the sternum, or put the hands on the hips, whatever is feeling most natural to you. Don't overthink it. Excellent. From here, we can start to shift our weight side to side and widen out the stance so that the feet are just a little bit further apart than your shoulders width. Let's start to rotate our torso side to side, noticing how the arms will follow. If they were on your hips or at your chest, allow them to flop down to the sides. And let's progressively increase our pace, waking up the body, and really focusing on keeping centered and maintaining that internal awareness even as we increase our heart rate. It's okay to let the feet come off the ground a little bit. You can allow the arms to hit your sides. This is a great warm-up. I like to imagine the tension just melting off my head and being flung across the room. You can start to slow it down ever so slightly and allow yourself to come to stillness in the middle. From here, let's start to bring our feet a little closer together, maybe shoulder width, and start to raise your heels a little bit, get a little bouncy, almost like you're a kid waiting for something to happen and you're really excited. You can start to increase that bounce to tiny hops. If it feels good in your ankles to do so. You can hop a little higher and explore with shifting your weight from side to side or kind of turning your torso as you hop. Feel free to do your own little dance. I'm giving very vague cues because I want you to really explore what your body is craving and be okay with it. All right. Feel free to take a break at any point as we feel our heart rate increase. From here, start to hop out a little wider in, little jumping jacks. We'll just do a few together. Add the arms, take up space. I know this is wild for a yoga class, We'll do 3 more jumping jacks together, and then pause when you're ready in your star position. Reach up with the inhale, and on the exhale, tilt the torso forward, melt towards the earth, wide-legged forward fold. From here, allow the head to hang towards the earth. It doesn't need to go down deep. Shift your weight from side to side, and feel free to widen out the stance. Keep a soft bend in the knees as you explore the lengthening happening at the backs of the legs and hamstring. You can allow your arms to also sway side to side, maybe fingertips grazing the mat, or even palms, just exploring a bit of opening. From here, let's start to shift our weight back into our heels. Rise to a halfway lift position. You can place your palms on your calves, your knees, your thighs, or your hips, doesn't matter. And on the next exhale, melt towards the mat. Imagine that you are drawing your legs together. Draw the energy up from the arches of your feet. Feel the activation as you squeeze your thighs together, and use that to arrive back into a standing position. Wonderful. We're going to turn all of our toes towards our left, coming into a Virabhadrasana 1 or Warrior 1 position. So for this, you're going to have your hips turned towards the left, front knee bent, back leg straight without locking the joint, front toes going perfectly towards that short edge of the mat, back toes going out, maybe a 45-degree angle or so. Shift the weight from side to side. And when you're feeling ready, like your hips are buoyant and supported, scoop up the air and imagine yourself shining your heart up and back without crunching anything in that low back. Focus more instead on opening up the front, lengthening the front of the body. Enjoy a few breaths here, and then on your next inhale, lengthen through that front leg and allow the arms to flop down. Let's play between those positions, scooping up the air, shining the heart up towards the sky, lengthening through the leg and flopping down. Proceed at your own time with your own pace. I like to pull my elbows back so that my arms are in a bit of a cactus position. Find it really opens up the front of that chest. And lengthen. We'll go through one more round, taking it at your own pace. The next time you're paused with both of your legs lengthened, start to tilt forward, feeling that opening through at the back of the left thigh. Reach your arms behind you, coming into a modified Parsvottanasana pyramid pose. Notice a little bit of balance and stability that's happening here. And from here, let's bend through that front leg, plant our palms to more or less frame that front foot, and send that left foot back into a plank position. Option to come immediately to your knees. You're going to cultivate strength either way. Give yourself some grace. From here, we are going to shift our weight forward, bend through the elbows, and all come on down to the mat. Untuck the back toes, pull the elbows backwards, and use that momentum to effortlessly raise the chest a few inches off the mat. Baby Cobra. Lower the chest, and on your next inhale, allow that to inflate the body, feeling the front of the body lengthening, back of the body strengthening, as we come in and out of our Cobra or Bhujangasana. Let's now tuck the toes under. Option to press back to all fours or straight through plank, sending our hips up and back to a downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. First downward dog of the day. Let's pedal out those feet. Do a bit of an integrity check, pressing out through the palms, maintaining that soft bend in the elbows, allowing the head to hang down, really shining the pelvis up towards the air, noticing how that really lengthens the back of the hamstrings. Maintain a soft bend in the knees and allow the heels to fall towards the mat. You can pedal it out. I find the first downward dog always feels a little tight, and it's really cool to notice that subtle lengthening as you go through your practice. All right, let's meet in downward dog, and we're going to very simply shift our weight to our toes, Move the body forward, shoulders arriving above palms, knowing you can come to your knees at any point in time. From here, let's once again lower our elbows, and this time either coming all the way down to the mat or pushing up into an upward dog. An upward dog, your thighs are levitating ever so slightly, kind of like your cobra, making sure we're not pinching in the low back. On your next exhale, let's tuck those toes under and notice how slowly I'm moving. Use the strength of your core to pull your hips up and back, settling back down to your downward dog. Excellent. We'll pedal out the feet. From here, we'll shift our weight to our right foot, raise our left foot in the air a little bit for three-legged dog. Doesn't need to be too high. Also option to do this from a tabletop position. Then through that left knee, shift the weight forward and step that left foot up between the palms. Take a minute here to rock back and forth, getting a bit of a massage through the plantar fascia on the bottom of the feet, especially that back foot. This is an option to use your blocks or props if you'd like, or plant your right palm or come up on fingertips and lift your left palm into the air, joining me in a twist. You might be turned away from the screen, that's totally okay. Pause here to focus in on the breath. Notice the lengthening that's happening at the front of that right hip. Let's windmill that front arm down. Palms frame that front foot. From here, you have two options. I'll show you. One option is to walk the palms towards the long edge of the mat, arriving in your forward fold. The other is to squeeze your legs together for some stability, scoop up some air, and rise into a high crescent lunge or Anjaneyasana. Front knee is bent, back foot has the ankle up in the air. If you are up in your high Anjaneyasana, let's windmill our right arm over, facing the long edge of our mat, and then leave that gentle bend on your knees as you fold forward, joining our friends in our wide-legged forward fold. From here, just like before, we are going to plant this time our left palm, and imagine that you've got some paint or honey that you're going to smear using your right palm all through the chest and then up into the air. Take a few breaths here, feel that opening throughout the inner thighs, throughout the front of the chest and the shoulders. Imagine yourself really reaching with that top right arm. Totally okay if you're up on your fingertips or using your block. It's also very much okay to do this twist from a higher up position. Have the courage to give your body what it needs. Let's windmill down that right palm. Oh, and Ant has come to join me. It's not safe for you here, my friend. Take off. Plant the right palm or right fingertips and take that left palm to smear it across your opposite arm, across your chest, and raise it into the air, almost like you're drawing back a bow and arrow. Settle into the breath. Notice if your hips have gone to the side, do just a subtle adjustment to shift them more towards the midline. Feel equal weight on both your legs and notice how that changes the sensation of the twist. Excellent. Let's lower that left palm. From here, bend through the knees. Inhale to halfway lift. Hands can just be hanging down. They can be on the mat or they can be on your calves or hips. And on your next exhale, pour the body over the mat. This time we're going to inhale to rise all the way up, taking your time, really luxuriating in the movement. And we're going to turn towards our right side. So turn all 10 toes, if you have 10 toes, again, no judgment, towards the right, arriving into Virabhadrasana 1 or Warrior 1 position. Again, we've got our hips facing towards the short edge of the mat, front leg is bent, back leg is straight, toes pointing off to about 45 degrees. Let's scoop up that air. Notice if you've got a little bit more space at the front of the chest. Inhale to lengthen through that front leg. inhale, scoop the air up and back. You can play between changing the movements of the inhale and the exhale. Option again to really cactus those elbows back into a 90-degree position. I like to imagine I'm like a bird flapping my wings here, taking off. We'll go through one more round. And then the next time your front leg is lengthened, we'll pause here. Make sure hips are turned towards the front. Reach back with our arms and hover our chest above our right thigh. Really feeling the lengthening from the head to the fingertips and opening through the front of the right knee. Making sure we're not locking up the joint. Notice how much more stability and strength you get in the muscles when you maintain that subtle bend. On your next inhale, let's bend through that front knee. Plant the palms to frame that front foot and step it back either to the tabletop position with the knees under the hips, palms under the shoulders, or into your plank. Again, be at peace with your choice either way. Trust that you're cultivating benefits for your body. When you're ready, let's shift the weight forward, then through the elbows, and let's come all the way down. Untuck the toes, draw the elbows towards the midline, and allow the chest to float off the mat. You can even raise your palms a little bit, making sure that we're using the strength of our back and core. On your next exhale, float it down. And imagine that your next inhale lifts you up with no effort from your body at all. Deflate towards the mat, tuck under the toes, and either coming through your tabletop or plank, we're going to push it up and back to our downward facing dog. Pedal out your feet. Feel the strength throughout your shoulders and body supporting you. Once again, we're going to shift our weight forward, coming up onto the toes. Imagine like you're trying to get your belly button above an invisible hurdle as you slowly shift your weight forward. Bend through the elbows, option to come all the way down, or this time press up into an upward facing dog. On your next exhale, tuck under the toes and press up and back, noticing the slower you go, the stronger the movement is, into your downward facing dog. Pedal out the feet. Notice if the heels are a little closer to the mat. Totally okay, that's not the goal. Maybe notice if your hamstrings just feel a little bit more free and supple. And if they don't, that's cool too. From here, we're going to shift our weight to our left foot, float that right heel into the air for a brief three-legged dog. Totally okay as well to do this from your knees. Let's bend through that right knee, shift the weight forward, and step the foot between the palms. Take a minute here, deciding whether or not, we're going to open up towards that leg, raising that right palm up into the air. Almost skipped a step. Let's luxuriate in this twist. Imagine yourself pulling back that right femur. And using the sound of my voice to guide you if you can't see the screen, no big deal. Let's windmill that arm down so that both palms frame that front foot, and take a minute to decide if you'd rather walk your palms to the long edge or squeeze the legs together for stability and rise on up for a high Anjaneyasana crescent lunge. If you are up in the lunge, reach up and over with the left arm, planting the 10 toes to face the long edge of the mat. And then this time, see how it feels if you inhale, folding into your wide-legged forward fold. Pause here. Option to do exactly what we did before if you'd like to engage in that little twist with the palm in the middle of the mat. If you'd like to explore how it feels to go a little deeper, you can take your right palm, move it a little closer to your left foot, and then reach up and over with that left palm. Maybe you find it feels soothing to even make contact with that left foot or ankle or calf or thigh. Totally not mandatory. Feel free to explore whatever your body is craving. Let's do the same thing opposite side as we windmill that left arm down. Reach the left palm towards that right foot and reach up and over that right palm. Return to the breath if we've deviated. And let's windmill both arms down. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale to shift the weight back into the heels. Imagine the spine stacking on its own as you slowly rise to a wide-legged stance. All right, from here, we're going to get a little light in our feet, start to heel toe them towards center. We're going to make use of some of that balance that we've cultivated. So we're going to shift the weight from side to side and turn your attention this time towards your left foot. As you get a little bit light in the right foot, notice how the left side of the body catches your weight, and start to experiment with placing your right foot onto your left calf. Coming into a bit of a tree pose. So it feels good to do so. You can pause in tree or Vrikshasana, placing that right foot onto the left calf, leaving your palms at your hips, or seeing what it's like to reach up and over, coming to a bit of a taller tree. Imagine yourself really opening up through that right hip, not overdoing it, just gently encouraging some space there. Awesome. It can be helpful to look at a drishti point, a point in the ground in front of you, to really help keep stable in your balance. If you feel balanced here and you want to challenge yourself, bring yourself into your body, you can look up a little bit. Maybe even to the sky. Ooh, maybe even closing your eyes. Quite the balance challenge. I know that left leg is really working. Bear with me. We're going to release that right foot without dropping it to the mat. Do a few ankle circles here, cultivating some strength. And now, let's do some circles with that right hip. You can place your palms on your hips, making sure we're not going too far, only doing movements that feel soothing. You can change direction. You don't need to adhere to a strict circle. You can do some figure eights. We'll do this for 2 more breaths. And when you're ready, let's place down that right foot and start shifting our weight to our right foot. Again, you can leave your palms on your hips. Allow them to kind of rest at the sides, not a big deal. And once you feel the left side of your body catch your weight, the right side of your body catch your weight, we'll pause here. So we've got our left foot onto our right calf, coming to Vrikshasana tree pose. Take a minute to decide what type of tree you'd like to be. You can even see how it feels to move your arms a little bit if you want to explore your balance. Balance poses sometimes can be stressful. I don't know, I feel like there's this pressure we put on ourselves. But I encourage you to find some self-expression and to get a little silly with it. If you're not at any risk of falling, you're probably not fostering as much growth as you could. Challenging our balance is how we grow. And you're very close to the ground, so even if you fall out, it should be able to catch you. Also totally okay to grab onto a chair or railing to give yourself a little bit more support. Okay, so you're saying stop talking, Mel. Let's release that left foot without dropping it. Start to draw some circles with the left knee or any other shapes, maybe a heart, making sure that our movements feel good within that left hip. Do 1 more breath, and then let's come to a standing position. Feel free to pedal at your feet. I like to do a little stretch to the plantar fascia. Now we're going to repeat that, but take it up a notch. So from here, we'll shift our weight to our left foot, bring our right foot into a tree position onto the calf. You can raise your arms up into the air or keep them at the hips the whole time. Let's now step out with our right foot, left foot onto the calf. I like to allow my arms to go low in the middle and high up as I experiment between these two different tree poses. It's really fun to do this on a deck where there's different elevations in these old wooden boards. Hopefully I don't fall through. You can even take it up a notch. If you're like, this is cultivating a little bit more energy than I want, feel free to pause in your tree pose. Feel free to pause in a Tadasana standing pose. Have some fun with it. Once again, do a little dance. Have the courage to look a little silly. You can even out the sides. And once you're ready, let's pause in the middle for stillness. All right, heart rate might be up a little bit. From here, we're going to pause with our feet underneath our hips. We're going to scoop up the air, sit our weight back into our heels, coming into an Utkatasana or chair pose. I'll turn to the side so you can observe what I'm doing, but I've got enough weight in my heels such that I can wiggle my toes. I'm making sure not to get too much banana back. I'm drawing in my core a little bit for some support. Option to bring your palms to your chest, reach up into the air. Feel those quads and thighs fire. We'll be here for 3, 2, 1. Lengthen through the legs and fold forward. Inhale to halfway lift, exhale to fold. Shift the weight back into the heels and slowly rise. All right, we're gonna play with that a little bit more. Scoop up the air, sit back into your chair. We'll pause here. And on your next exhale, come up to a standing position. Yes, we're doing some squats, but mindful, cool yoga squats, not regular squats. Play between those two positions, sitting back into your chair, exhaling up. Feel free to go at a pace that works for you. You can go a little faster. You can pause in chair if you feel so inclined. Pause in a standing position. Once again, explore what will work for your body. We'll be here for 2 more breaths. Next time you're in chair pose, let's pause here. We'll be holding here for 3, 2, 1. And now let's all stand up. Shake out the legs a little. Great opportunity to grab a drink. Allow any tension to melt away. Okay, so we're going to play with that a little bit more. We're going to combine the tree and the chair together. So, shifting the weight to the left foot, we're going to raise our right knee into the air, turn out to the side almost like you're going to place a foot on the calf, but this time see how it feels to cross that right ankle over top of the left thigh. If it's not working for you, no problemo. You can hang out in tree or experiment with chair pose. If this is feeling okay, bring your palms to your chest, everyone, and start to bend through that left knee to sit back into a figure 4 chair. Making sure we can still wiggle those bottom toes a little bit. Feel the opening throughout that right hip. We'll pause here for 3 breaths. If it's in your practice, see how it feels to sit back so low that you can maybe even tilt forward and bring your fingertips or palms to the mat. Not a goal at all, just something else to explore. Wherever you're at, if you're folded over, start to rise, return the palms to the chest, and start to lengthen through that bottom leg, stepping it out to a standing position. Feel free to shake it out. All right, same thing next side. Shift the weight to that right foot, raise the left knee into the air, turn up the knee to the side, and place that left ankle over top of the left thigh. Palms to the chest, feeling the thumbs pressing into the sternum. Totally cool to pause here, totally cool to pause the tree instead. But if you're feeling stable, see how it feels to sit back, bending through that standing right leg. We'll pause here for 3 long breaths. Once again, option to fold forward. If If you were folded forward, slowly inhale to rise, palms to the center of the chest, straighten through that standing leg and step it out. Excellent. Shake up the legs a little bit. We're going to do a few more strengthening exercises standing, and then we're going to slowly make our way towards the mat. So you have the option now of playing between those two tree poses like we did before, or if you'd like, you can return to that standing figure of four by shifting the weight to the left foot, crossing that right ankle over top of the left thigh, palms to center of chest, and then stepping out with your right foot, keeping the knees bent the whole time, bringing that left leg over top of the right thigh. Repeat this movement a few times. You can look up to me to see what the heck I'm talking about. Making sure that our weight is more or less towards the back. Welcoming any wobbles. Wobbles is your body strengthening, is your body learning and becoming more balanced. If this is feeling pretty cool and pretty stable, you can even pick a drishti point in front of you and see how it feels to hop from one side to the other. I recommend hopping up so you have time to kind of land and center yourself. I did not anticipate how hard this would be on a wooden deck, but honestly, it's a lot of fun. If you're like, I will die if I do this, no problem. Feel free to play with just a regular chair pose or a tree pose. You are strengthening either way. Let's do one or two more to even out the sides. And when you're ready, return to a standing Tadasana position in the midline. Let's all take a minute to get our feet under our hips, shift our weight, and then slowly settle into stillness. Open up through the chest, arms to the side, palms facing forward, as we take stock of how we're feeling. Excellent. From here, we're going to simply turn towards our left, shift our weight onto our left leg, and fold forward into a standing splits position. Really more of a standing L shape. Not many of us can do the full splits, and honestly, that's totally cool. Let's plant the back right toes, crawl the palms towards the long edge of the mat, continue crawling them over towards that right foot, and then step off into your standing split. So good opportunity to use the blocks or fingertips, or maybe in place palms on the ground, lengthen through that standing right leg and lengthen through that back leg, lifting it up from the inner thigh as much as you can. Excellent. Let's plant that back left foot. We'll walk our palms to face the long edge of the mat. From here, we're going to turn our toes out a little bit and shift our weight. Start to feel some strength building in your glutes and slowly rise on up to a bit of a goddess position. You can bring your arms out to the sides, pause in stillness or shift the weight. We'll be here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Turn the toes forward and then forward fold. We're going to keep it very simple here. Allow yourself to make your way onto the mat. No fancy transitions this time. Take a little bit of water break. Feel free to windmill your legs side to side, or windshield wiper, not windmill, your legs side to side, feeling a nice massage throughout the glutes, which I say we have truly earned through our standing sequence. We'll spend a little bit of time showing some love to our core, and then we'll do some lovely stretches to cool down and let go. So from here, we find ourselves in a position with our feet flat on the mat, knees bent, bum seated firmly onto the mat. I'd all recommend that we start with our palms behind our thighs, loop the shoulders up and back, and see how that makes the feet a little bit more weightless as you lean back, coming to a Navasana or boat pose. Trust in yourself that you're going to find the right action to do as you slowly imagine yourself falling through space in slow motion. So you can allow your legs and arms to explore the space around you in any creative sort of way. Noticing the lower you go to the mat, the more your core is firing up. The slower you move, the more you can appreciate those different subtle muscles of the core acting. We'll be here for 3, 2, and on the 1, let's return to that Navasana or boat pose and tilt forward. Allow your arms to go towards your legs. Allow your head to hang towards your knees. We don't need to touch. Just creating a private little space to reflect on how you're feeling. Part of pride is really loving our bodies and making sure that when we exercise, we're doing so out of love for our body, that when we do our core exercise, it's because we want to be strong, we want to not have pain, we want to have a strong back throughout our life. There's a lot of other reasons that people will do core exercises, and they're not always as helpful. So I think it is a good opportunity to just do a little internal check-in and take a minute to celebrate the work that we've done so far. Slowly straighten your spine as you rise your crown towards the ceiling or the sky. And from here, let's reach forward and start to round through the spine, creating a bit of a C curve as we slowly plant vertebrae by vertebrae our spine onto the mat. Totally okay if you have any little crash landings, the ground is there to catch you. From here, you can allow your arms to rest beside your head or down by your thighs as we, I'm getting splinters, as we allow our knees to fall side to side. Once again, enjoying that really nice massage through the glutes, a release of tension perhaps through that low back. Great. From here, let's allow our feet to rest onto the mat, knees in the midline. And let's all place our palms down beside our hips. Imagine the toes getting lighter, and notice how that already activates some muscles in the deep core. Start to allow the toes to levitate off the mat while still keeping one layer of skin in contact. You can notice that the core is really firing on. And then let's release. We'll do that one more time. Start to imagine the toes and feet getting lighter. Notice how your low back is flattening onto the mat. And slowly, like you're pulling your feet out of quicksand or cement, allow the feet to rise up. It's the simplest movement, but it always gets me shaking. Once you're at the top, you'll find your knees above your hips, and let's engage in some loving, slow yoga crunches. So we can create a little basket for our head using our thumbs to massage our neck, noticing any feelings that arise when we do our core work, and letting go of anything that's not serving us. Let's lengthen out through the left leg as we bend through our right knee. Reach up with your core, making sure not to crunch down the neck, and reach up and over with your left elbow towards your right knee. Inhale to return to center as the knees return to the hips, and repeat to the opposite side. Moving on your own time with your own breath. Exhaling to the side, inhaling to the middle. We'll be here for about 5 repetitions per each side. No need to get overly stressed with the counting. I'd recommend that you just kind of notice and pay attention to the fire that we're cultivating in our bellies. And when you feel like, you're pretty happy with the heat, just stop or just take a break. There is a certain amount of core strength this movement takes, but we shouldn't discount the mental strength it takes to take a rest when our body demands it. think I'm more or less on my last round. Feel free to even it out wherever you're at. And now let's allow the feet to fall back onto the mat. These fall towards the midline. You can give a little bit of a massage to your belly and core. So thank you, core, for the work that we're doing there. Who doesn't love a good belly rub? Okay, let's wiggle our feet so that they're back into alignment with our hips. We're going to press through our feet, noticing how our low back flattens against the mat, and continue that momentum to rise the hips, coming into a Setu Bandha Sirvangasana or bridge. On your next exhale, lower the spine vertebrae by vertebrae, noticing the strength it takes in the core to really articulate that. And we'll repeat that one more time. Inhale to press through the feet, flatten the back, float the hips. Exhale to slowly lower the spine. Now, we can do that one more time just like we did, or if you want to experiment with something different, since we cultivate a lot of strength in the glutes, see how it feels to raise your right foot towards the sky like you're about to step onto the ceiling. Cultivate some strength through that left foot and press on up. We'll pause here for a breath or two, and then on your next exhale, lower the spine. Option to do the same thing next side. Press the left foot up into the air, feel the strength with that right foot, raise the hips. On your exhale, slowly lower. Let's bring one knee into the chest, other knee into the chest, and rock and roll side to side. Feel free to spend some time engaging in any other movements your body is craving. Whenever you are ready, we'll extend one leg out, and we'll extend the other leg out, arriving into our Shavasana or corpse pose. You can raise your chest to really tuck your shoulder blades beneath you to feel some more opening for your chest. If you'd like to use any props like blankets under your knees or a little pillow under your neck, feel free. Do whatever it takes to feel settled and cozy. Turn your attention to the breath, allowing it to wash over you. We'll spend about 5 minutes here. Let go of the need to think or not think about anything in this space. Thoughts will definitely come, and when they do, imagine them just floating on by, like clouds in the sky. You might note them, but we don't interact with them. Allow any sounds to wash over you. If you find yourself distracted by sensation, when you hear something, repeat in your head, hearing, hearing, hearing. If there is a physical sensation or feeling that is acting up, note it and repeat in your head, feeling, feeling, feeling. yourself, thinking, thinking, thinking. To help you return to this present moment in your beautiful body. Start to turn your awareness back towards space around you. Wiggle your fingers and toes ever so slightly, noticing how when you're present and really feeling in your body, these sensations are really heightened. Can be a really powerful experience. Use that natural momentum to start to rotate your wrists and ankles and allow the head to fall side to side, relieving any pressure or tension in the neck. Inhale your arms up ahead, legs together, no need to overstretch. Exhale to melt. Drag your left heel back on the mat, bending your knee, landing with your left foot on the mat and knee bent. Press your left foot into the mat to roll over onto your right side and slowly, luxuriously make your way up to a comfortable seated position. I want to take a minute to thank you for joining me in this special practice today, for taking pride in who we are, and for celebrating the uniqueness and the wonderful qualities in the people around us. Allow your eyes to flutter open if they're closed. Thank you very much, everyone, and have a lovely Pride season.